welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful and quite rainy Budapest. I hope everybody has had a great week. In this class, we are looking at a reading passage for the academic version of the exam. If you are a general IELTS student, it's still a great class because section 3 of your reading in general IELTS is very, very similar to that of the academic. Sukvir Kalsi, hello, Hypreet Kaur Brar, Nabluos El Hajam, Carolina, Danielle, good to see many students in the class. While we wait for some more students to join up, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com. For the academic version of the exam, visit us there to prepare for your test, increase band scores, save money. You don't have to sit the exam so often. And for the general version of the exam, check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we have loads of materials for you. The academic website looks like this with the blue background. Click that big red button to join the premium package. Get access to 6 original exams, 100 hours of video lessons, and a fully interactive course for your phone, tablet, PC. For the general IELTS, it's the green background. Click that big red button to join there. Same idea. Kasak, the Cambridge books are the same difficulty as the real IELTS exam if you're reading the past papers. Our practice exams are the same difficulty as well. Kasak, the Cambridge exams, past papers are literally past exams that were administered. I think the most recent one is IELTS Past Exams, Book 14. Okay. They have gotten a little bit more difficult over the years, so if you're studying from Cambridge Book 1, it might seem a little bit easier, and I get that. All right. Students, download our app from your app stores, Android, iOS. Search for Academic IELTS Help. Look for our shield. Very, very soon we will have our general version of the app released. Also, if you have a question about the IELTS, like are the Cambridge practice exams easier than the real thing, or our products, how much does it cost, what can you do with it, what about writing and speaking, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. All right, everyone, so reading passage. This reading passage is taken from our book 1 from the academic. Let's take a look at it. And this reading passage 3 is the same level of difficulty as what you may encounter in the official exam. In fact, you might even encounter a very similar topic. All right. So we're moving through the reading and we look at the title, of course, first, Explosions in Space, Supernovae. Wow, okay, exciting. And then we have this picture here. So our step number 1, always read the title. Sometimes students just ignore the title. It's really weird. The title helps you understand the passage. It's the most concise summary of the passage, so always read that. Okay, explosions in space, supernovae. When you read this, what do you think about? What comes to mind? What does that mean? Okay. Akmal, I think you're asking about our products, the curriculum book. Send me an email. You should definitely start with using the curriculum book and follow the 30 or the 60-day study plan. Okay, Hassan, I think what you meant to write there is stars explode, right, Hassan? Not starts explosion, but stars exploding. I think that's what you're inferring. Sanjay says something about astronomy. Paral says formations of nova. Stars, yes, supernova. Okay. Danielle says something about the universe. Sue says something about explosions outside of Earth. Absolutely. Sugandika says comets exploding. I don't think it's comets exploding. Comets don't often explode. NA says maybe the Big Bang Theory, the origin of the universe. It could be something about that for sure. Okay. Galaxy exploding, Akmal. I don't think so. Galaxy is a collection of millions of stars. Galaxies don't tend to explode. Pavan says maybe formation of dwarfs. Dwarfs are a type of star. Okay, those are all some great ideas. Definitely the picture here, if you look at it, it looks like a really bright star, certainly. High contrast, and you see all these little stars around it as well. So that is a good inference. Inference meaning educated guess. We don't say stars are falling. We say shooting stars. Shooting stars in English. Not falling stars, but shooting stars. Okay. That was for Hikmatillo. Hikmatillo, shooting stars. Something about that. Okay, well, let's look at the questions. See if we get some help there. Okay. So, with the questions, only read questions that have information also contained in the passage. This first set here says, which paragraph contains the following information? So this type of question is called matching information. Okay, that's the name of this type of question. Matching information. So you have to match the statement to the correct paragraph. Okay? And definitely for this one, you need to read the passage. It's very difficult to search for these because this type of question does not come in the order. So maybe this information is somewhere in the middle, somewhere near the end. We don't know where the information is contained, so we have to be very, very careful. Okay? So mass energy conversion, the requirements for a type 1a supernova, supernovae as intergalactic measuring sticks. Heavy elements come from supernova, the fuel used for stars. Supernovae are the progenitors of much of existence. All right, so when I read this, what more information can I predict about the passage? So after you read these statements, these facts, they're basically facts, right? Mass energy conversion, the requirements for type 1a supernova. What more information do I get? Specifically, let's take 28. If I read this one, the requirements for type 1a supernova, what can I predict about the passage? Yeah, Sugandika Kare says there are types of supernova. That's good. So there are types of supernova. Ajit says mark keywords. No, don't mark keywords, students. Why is it not a good idea to mark keywords? So sometimes students try to do things like underline words or put a box around a word that they think is a key word, but this is not a good idea. Why is that not a good idea? Hikmatillo says that can be really confusing. Yeah, and Pavan says it can be paraphrased. That's right. So paraphrasing makes this irrational. Irrational means it's not logical to put a circle around this and get your eyes to just really focus on that word when you might not even see that word in the passage. And now your brain is concentrating on that word and it's nowhere in the passage, so it's counterproductive. Okay? It's not necessarily a good strategy by any means. Okay. 29, supernovae are intergalactic measuring sticks. What might we predict about the passage when we read this statement? Supernovae as intergalactic measuring sticks. Hikmatillo, you can't just read for details, okay? Oh, Ajit, no worries. I see students do it all the time. Yeah, I see them doing all the time. It doesn't work for this. The IELTS exam, students, is more like a college level exam. So you cannot use strategies that work in middle school or high school exams, like underlining and circling keywords. Baral says tools to measure galactic phenomenon. Yeah, so some kind of a tool to measure elements in space. Sure. Okay, so that's the kind of inferencing that we want to apply quickly while we are reading over these answer question statements. Okay. All right. Let's go to questions 33 to 36. It says complete the sentences below. Again, a good question to read before the passage. All of this information is somewhere in the passage. It helps us predict even further. Type 2 supernovae originate from a star which is. Okay, so this strengthens that there are more types of supernovae. The energy producing process in a star converts something into something. Okay, so now I'm reading that there's these words like process, converting, changing. So the passage must include information about the changing of stars, the changing of energy. Okay. Yes, Hikmatillo, practicing to read the whole passage, even if you don't understand all of it, is very useful. Okay. So the death process starts when all of the hydrogen is used up. The star then begins to process something elements. Okay, so again, process. So lots about process here. Thinking about process essays, first, second, third, fourth, so on. The first element that can no longer be fused into another element is. Okay. Elements, students, are like oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, silver, gold, the periodic table of elements, all of those wonderful elements and atoms that make up our known universe. Now, again, students, this is reading, so read with me. Okay. Read nice and loud. We're doing this together. Helium, Ryuk, Gil, absolutely is an important one. Okay, here we have some multiple choice questions. Should I read all of this information, multiple choice, before I read the passage? So before reading the passage, should I read all of this information? Ryuk says no. Hikmatillo says no. Vishal agrees. Charlieson agrees, and you're correct. Yeah, you shouldn't, because here you have 4 choices. 3 of these are incorrect. So there's no point to read 3 possibly false pieces of information, which might not even be in the passage. That's just confusing for us. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 multiple choice questions. That means that we have 4 times 3 false pieces of information. So we have 12 statements that are incorrect. There is no reason to read 12 false statements twice before you read the passage. If you're worried about time, this is one place to save time. Reading 12 false statements is like reading a whole extra paragraph that's useless. Okay? So don't do that. It's a waste of time and it's confusing. So all you need to do here is just read the statements. Okay? So just read what's in the passage. The statement, this, is in the passage. Okay? So the sun will not become a type 1a supernova. Why not? The Chandrasekhar limit is, okay, so something about the Chandrasekhar limit. Okay. Then 39, if two type 1a supernovae are observed and one is brighter than the other, what can be concluded about the dimmer one? All right, good. So I've read this one. Which question or statement does number 39 connect to? So which one is this connected to? That's right, Burrell. He's a very famous Indian mathematician, Chandrasekhar. Okay, 39. If two type 1a supernovae are observed and one is brighter than the other, what can be concluded about the dimmer one? What do you think that's connected with? Which question? If I go back a little bit here. I think somebody said number 28. Not quite 28, but you're close. Probably 29. Supernovae as intergalactic measuring sticks, right? So one is further, one is closer. Number 29. It's a really good idea, students, when you're reviewing your questions to make a mental note of connections among questions, okay? That's my first tip for you today. That's a new one that I haven't covered in classes, but definitely a clever trick or strategy, if you will, to follow, okay? So tip 1 for today. When you review questions, if you see connections among questions, meaning the information in the questions relate to a similar idea, be sure to take a mental note, as this will help comprehension and location for the answers. All right? Keep that tip in mind. Let's go back to our questions here. So, last one, number 40. Supernovae can be compared to. Interesting. All right, let's see what that's about. Okay, so far so good. Now let's read together. All right? And some of you might be thinking, I'm not really into astronomy. I'm not really into stars as such. Don't do that. Don't distance yourself from exam information ever, even if historically you think it's boring. Don't distance yourself from the information. You have to feel and believe that the information in the exam is interesting and exciting for you. Engage the information. You will do much better. Remember, your goal is not to learn about stars. Your goal is not to become an astronomer. Your goal is to get a high IELTS band score. All right? Be excited, be interested. Stars are spectacular. Here we go. So let's read the passage. If you're going for those higher band scores, 7, 8, 9, ideally you should be reading the passage. If you're not, then you're torturing yourself unnecessarily. It's easier to get a high band score, especially the high band scores, when you read the passage. So let's read together. Explosions in space, supernovae. Read with me nice and loud, students. Supernovae are among the most spectacular events in the universe. They are incredibly powerful. In just a few weeks, they can release the same amount of energy as our sun will release in its entire lifetime. Supernovae are also the origin of many of the elements that make up the universe. Most of the elements of the periodic table require enormous amounts of energy to produce, and supernovae are the only source of this energy. Due to their consistent brightness, supernovae are used to measure large distances across the universe. Okay, great. So, what paragraph is this? In an essay, I should say, in an essay. What paragraph is this? It is the introduction, right? Hopefully some of you are typing that nice and fast right now. That's the introductory paragraph. It's not just paragraph A, it's the introduction. How does the introduction help me understand the passage? The introduction is a very important paragraph, even if some of you are like, I don't believe Adrian. I'm not going to do what he tells me. All of my teachers say I should just skim and scan. There's not enough time. Even if you're one of these people, still read the introduction. If you just skim read the body paragraphs or whatever, where I'm not going to fight you over it, but still read the introduction. Because, as Dry Prune says, it gives a brief summary. It gives an overview of all of the passage, Saswati says. Yes. What else? So it gives a brief overview, a brief summary of the whole passage. What else does it give us? NA, I love your answer because that's truly what the introduction does. It gives excitement to the reader to read more. What else does it do? So it gives us a nice summary, an overview. And it does one more very important step. The introductory paragraph can often be looked at also as an index. Is everybody clear on what I mean by index? Okay, so this is my tip 2 for today. Okay. Even if you think me crazy and decide to just skim read for answers, which you shouldn't do, you must read the introductory paragraph because A, it gives you a summary of the passage contents, and let's see if anybody got it while I was typing away. It's an index. It tells you the structure. Okay. So you can predict what will be first in the passage, what will come after, what will come next. And check this out. I'll show you something kind of cool here. So remember that question, which was this 27 to 32? Which paragraph contains the following information? And here it says, heavy elements come from supernovae. Okay, let's just jump to this one here, number 30. Heavy elements come from supernovae. If I go back, so keep that one in mind, heavy elements come from supernovae. And I look at the introduction, it says supernovae are also the origin of many of the elements that make up the universe. Most elements of the periodic table require enormous amounts of energy. So here, I have this information in the introduction coming fairly early. So this gives me the idea that in this essay, the author will discuss elements in the first couple body paragraphs. So right away, I can assume that I'm going to read about elements somewhere in here. And right away, I can already see words like hydrogen, helium, and so on. And then I can assume that in the next body paragraph, I'm going to read even more about elements. So I can see that here we have carbon, neon, oxygen, and then iron. Okay. Now, iron is quite a heavy element, so I can already start to figure out that perhaps the answer is coming from this paragraph. Okay, so again, the introduction gives me not only a summary, but also the structure of the essay. Okay. All right, let's keep reading, students. So here we go. Read with me. Is that, by the way, before we read, is that clear? So did everybody pick up on what I was putting down by the introduction gives you an index of the passage? It tells you roughly the outline for the passage. Okay, so you can kind of reference the introduction to help you search in the right places if you're panicking. Okay, all right. Okay, so here we go, especially the thesis statement, right? The thesis statement. So here we go. B, there are two major types of supernovae, type 1a and type 2. There are a number of differences between the two, but the main difference is the process by which they come into being. Type 2 supernovae originate from a dying star. A star begins to die when it runs out of fuel. Fuel for stars is the element hydrogen. For their entire lives, stars fuse hydrogen into helium, producing energy in the process. This energy comes from the difference in mass between a helium molecule and the 4 constituent hydrogen atoms. 4 hydrogen atoms have a mass of approximately 4.0318 atomic mass units, while a helium atom's mass is approximately 4.0026 atomic mass units. The difference between these two values is the amount of mass which is converted into pure energy. In a dying star, there is no more hydrogen. All that is left is helium. At that point, the star begins to fuse helium molecules together to form carbon molecules. Once all the carbon is gone, the star moves on to even heavier elements, and the star consumes these heavier elements at faster and faster rates. A star may take 10 million years to consume its hydrogen, then take 1 million years to consume its helium, 1,000 years for the carbon, 3 years to consume the neon, 3 months for the oxygen, and only 5 days to convert all of the silicon into iron. There's a stopping point, however. Once the core of the star is entirely iron, there can be no more fusion. This is because the small difference in mass that is converted into energy is not present in the case of iron. The star is then left with an inactive iron core. Once the iron core reaches a certain mass, called the Chandrasekhar limit, the star can no longer exist under its own weight and collapses in on itself. The result is a cataclysmic type 2 supernova. All right. Students, when you read this kind of passage in English, I'm sure it's extremely challenging. I could only imagine how difficult it would be for me to read such a topic in Spanish or Punjabi, Hindi, Mandarin. All the more reason to visualize. Okay? So, what do I do when I visualize this kind of information? I visualize a star. Okay? Perhaps that star is me. Okay, give myself a nose here. There's my beard and such, my mustache. Okay, my hair. I'm a star. And there are pieces coming out of me, these molecules, okay? Hydrogen, helium, different kinds of atoms, okay, coming out of me. And I'm eating these. I'm munching on these, okay? And in my belly, there's a chunk of iron, okay? And as I keep eating more and more of these, I become smaller and heavier, and eventually, kablooey boom, I explode. And what do you call me? I'm a type 2 supernovae. Hey, there I am, exploding. All right? I make it personal. I make my visualizations involved. I make them about me because it helps my brain to hold and use information. Okay? Quang Nguyen says, hey, you're a Pac-Man. I am a Pac-Man, Quang Nguyen. You're right. I'm a Pac-Man, kind of a star Pac-Man, all right? I'm a star Pac-Man. All right. Visualize. Again, students, when you can, visualize. Visualization is extremely powerful. Remember what I've said before, the entire back portion of your brain, called your occipital lobe, is dedicated to visual processing of information. Okay? So the more you visualize, the better. The better you will do in all parts of IELTS, not just the reading. Okay? So you are the star. All right. Next paragraph, read with me. The other type of supernova is type 1a. Type 1a supernova are formed most commonly in binary star systems where there are two stars. Okay, right away, you should visualize two stars. It's you and your friend. Miss or Mr. Nguyen might say, oh, it's Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man. No, they're stars, okay? So it's a binary star system. Okay, right away you should form that visualization. And Harpreet, if you're finding the reading boring, all the more reason to visualize and include yourself. Make it interesting. Okay, make it interesting. All right, let's keep going. For a supernova type 1a to occur, one of the stars has to be a white dwarf. A white dwarf is the remnant of a low-mass star that has come to the end of its stellar life. Our sun will one day be a white dwarf because it lacks the mass needed to blow up in a supernova type 2 explosion. In a binary system, the white dwarf star gravitationally attracts matter from its companion star, with the matter taken from the companion star becoming part of the white dwarf. Eventually, the white dwarf will have added so much mass that it begins to approach the Chandrasekhar limit. Once it hits this limit, just like in type 2 explosions, the white dwarf can no longer sustain itself and the core of the star collapses. The star blows itself up in an even more spectacular event than type 2 explosion. All right. Let's keep going. So, body paragraph 1, type 2 supernovae. Body paragraph 2, type 1a supernovae. Good. D. Type 1a supernovae are extremely bright. If the sun were to be replaced by a type 1a supernova, it would appear 5 billion times brighter. This brightness is also very consistent from one supernova type 1a to another supernova type 1a. This consistency has led astronomers to use supernovae type 1a as what are called standard candles. Standard candles. Again, obviously, here very easily, you should be visualizing the standard candle. Okay? All right. As a measurement, maybe you see some numbers here. Okay? All right, a standard candle is used to determine how far away an object is. For example, if we observe a supernova type 1a in a nearby galaxy, We can tell very accurately how far it is by comparing the apparent brightness of the supernova observed with its absolute brightness. Respectively, if the supernova is very bright, the galaxy is quite close. If the supernova is very dim, the galaxy is very far away. All right, now many students here would get really excited and go, ooh, I got a couple of answers here. I remember number 29 and number 39 were something about measuring sticks and measurements. So I'm going to quickly flip some pages, and bada bing, bada boom, bada bang. Supernovae is intergalactic measuring sticks. Which paragraph is that coming from? In my answer sheet, I'm going to go ahead and put D in there, and then I'm going to go back, flip some more pages, and bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, bada bang. 39, if type 1a supernovae are observed and one is brighter than the other, what can be concluded about the dimmer one? It's further away. B is my answer. I'm going to jump to my answer book and get it in there. Don't do that. Okay. Sure, you might be able to pick up a couple of questions or answers quickly. But if you do that for all of the answers or all of the questions, you're going to be all over the place and you're going to be very confused. There's only one question that you should do as you read. Other questions you should always wait until you finish the passage. Which question type do you think you should do while you read? There's only one question type that you should do while you read, and the rest of them you should only answer after you've finished the whole passage. Yeah, very good, Ryuk. So Ryuk says only the list of headings. Yeah, the list of headings, not true, false, only the list of headings, okay? The list of headings are the only question type that you should answer while you read. For every other type of question, multiple choice, true, false, not given, matching information, summary completion, you should do those ones after you finish reading the passage. It's less confusing, and if you do it correctly, you will have a higher rate of accuracy. Guaranteed. It's proven. I've seen it with hundreds, if not thousands, of students. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Let's read some more. E. Supernovae are responsible for every element in the universe that is heavier than iron. Every atom of gold, silver, tin, and lead, as well as 80 other elements in the universe, was born in a supernova. Supernovae are also the origin of most newly born stars in the universe. Our sun, for example, was born from a cloud of dust and gas that was left over from a supernova. The Earth, likewise, was born from a supernova. It is not too imaginative, therefore, to regard the plants, animals, humans on this planet as a development of this supernova. Every atom of our bodies was once scattered in a supernova explosion. Therefore, many scientists believe that supernovae are the crucibles of existence itself. Interesting. All right, so introduction gives us an overview, gives us that index. Body 1, type 2 supernova, that's me, Mr. Pac-Man as a star, eating those molecules. Then type 1a supernova, Mr. or Mrs. Pac-Man, eating each other, boom, bigger explosion. Then you have measuring sticks, the candles, right? And now we have all of the heavy elements, gold, silver, and the origin of life itself and all that is in the universe. Okay, and Carolina crowns this reading with a star that's got its shooting elements. Very good, Carolina. All right, so let's answer some questions. 27. Mass energy conversion. Which paragraph? A, B, C, D, or E? Which one is that one coming from? 27. Baral is asking, is it possible to understand these details? Absolutely, you have to. Okay, a lot of you are saying B, and you're correct. Yeah, absolutely. Right? When we're talking about those type 2 supernovae, and it's explaining how energy is converted, that's mass energy conversion. It's very clear. 28, the requirements for a type 1a supernova. 28, what is that one? Dry prune, Abi, Sunganika, I'll say C. Carolina, absolutely, right? After the type 2, it was the type 1a. So C. Now again, always pay attention to this. Note, by the way, you may use any letter more than once. Okay. 29, supernovae as intergalactic measuring sticks. That was the one where we got all excited, right? Woo. D. Yeah. That was coming after paragraph C. So B, C, D, so far so good. Number 30, heavy elements come from supernova. Number 30, heavy elements. Heavy elements would be like silver, gold. E, very good. Yeah. So that was E, right? Hopefully you visualized the silver, the gold. Okay. 31, the fuel used for stars. The fuel used for stars. Number 31. What's the logical answer for that? Fuel used for stars. Dry Prune says B. Sue says B. Baral says B. Hikmatillo says B. Absolutely B. What is the fuel? Let's see how clever many of you were. I remember this very clearly because when I was the Pac-Man, right? And I was eating those molecules. I was eating one, especially this molecule. What was that? That's right. I was eating hydrogen. Very good. I was eating hydrogen atoms, right? That were trying to escape from me. Delicious hydrogen. Awesome. Yeah. 32, supernovae are the progenitors of much of existence. Progenitors? What does that mean? Who knows? But it's something about supernovae are of existence. I can figure that out. E, very good. Many of you did as well. Progenitors here meaning the origin, the creators of. But even if I don't understand this word, I can still figure out that this is paragraph E. Okay? Very, very good. Notice how paragraph A isn't even in there. There's no paragraph A. We have paragraph B twice. We have paragraph E twice, but no paragraph A. There is no recipe. There's no magical system to this, okay? The examiners put this together in a clever way, so you just have to know the answer, right? All of these strategies that I'm showing you will help you with this, okay? We have strategies for every question type on our websites in the premium package for the reading section, okay? So definitely, highly recommend joining the premium package. It's not just a sales pitch, but people who complete that course without fail say that, yeah, I improved a band. So that's good. We're always happy about that. We're always happy about that. All right, let's complete these sentences. Type 2 supernovae originate from a star which is... Dun, 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 dun. You might want to search for this. We could easily find it in paragraph B. But before you start searching, think. You might be able to answer this without searching. I think many of you will. So type 2, that's still me, is a Pac-Man star gobbling up all of those elements. So a type 2 supernovae originate from a star which is not a fallen star, so we don't say that. It's a dying star. But you don't need dying star, Carolina. You just need dying. Yeah, Juan Pablo Avila, thank you. This is dying. Okay, which is dying. That's all you need. Type 2 supernovae originate from a star which is dying. Yeah. The energy producing process in a star converts what into what? And I think some of you know this because you gave me the correct answer just a couple minutes before. So the energy producing process in a star converts hydrogen into helium, according to Shirojdin Abdukholikyov. And you're right, hydrogen into helium. And can you use H into helium, He? Yes, you can. Okay. In this case, the IELTS exam will accept the periodic symbols as long as you write them correctly. It has to be a capital H and a small He. Yeah, that could work also. Okay, I don't recommend memorizing the periodic table of elements unless you're a physicist or a chemist, then you need to anyway. Okay, so hydrogen into helium. I don't even know why I knew those. I guess those are common ones. Okay, number 35. The death process starts when all of the hydrogen is used up. The star then begins to process something elements. What do you think is the most logical word to put in for 35 without searching? And this is, again, a tip, students. Many of these fill in the blanks, you can figure them out without searching the passage. Yeah, Ryuk, very good. Heavier elements. It's not heavy. Heavy elements, you might get it for heavy elements. Heavier because it's relative to hydrogen. It's heavier than hydrogen, right? So heavy or heavier elements. I'll probably give it to you for heavy. I would say heavier. Heavy elements are more of the metals like gold and silver. Okay, the first element that can no longer be fused into another element is, I think this one's quite simple if you visualized. The first element that can no longer be fused into another element is, very nice, students, iron. Okay, I definitely remember that because I had this visual cue of me as a star trying to eat an anvil, right? So iron, very good. Lots of you got that one, iron. Iron indeed, quite a nice heavy element, certainly. All right. Now we have these multiple choice questions. You should always try to solve these on your own and then answer. The sun will not become a type 1a supernova. Why not? Why will the sun not become a type 1a supernova? What's needed for a type 1a supernova? Why will our sun not become a type 1a supernova? The reason I'm not showing you the answer is because Ryuk, it's not that it doesn't have enough mass. That's a type 2 supernova. Okay, type 2 supernova needs to be big and have a lot of mass. Type 1a supernova, confusing because it's type 1a, needs, as many of you are saying, it needs 2 stars. K. Moria says, it doesn't have a companion star. Yeah, our sun is lonely. It doesn't have a buddy star. Maybe that's why there are 8 billion people on Earth, to keep the sun company. Who knows? It's missing its buddy. Where's my friend? The sun will not become a type 1a supernova. Why not? Because it has no companion star. It's not a white dwarf, no. It will never reach the Chandrasekhar limit. It does not have a companion star. That looks pretty good. All right, let's do it. Let's pick C. That matches my answer exactly. The Chandrasekhar limit is, what is it? So the Chandrasekhar limit is, what's the Chandrasekhar limit? Again, students, the trick for multiple choice questions to get them correct is don't wait for the answer to jump at you. First, think about the answer in your own head. Sometimes you don't even need to read the passage if you know the information. Okay? So, what is the Chandrasekhar limit? Baral says the limit of mass of the core, partly Baral Pudel. It's a mass limit. And what happens at that mass limit? There's one more piece to this. It's not the mass limit when the... Nope, Charlie said it's not when it's starting to die. It's a weight limit, mass limit, where the star can no longer do what? It's the mass limit where the star can no longer support its weight, right? It becomes so heavy that it just basically goes kablooey and blows up. So the Chandrasekhar limit is where the star blows up because it can't hold its own weight. I'm too heavy. It's like, imagine you're eating so much McDonald's that you just suddenly reach the Chandra McDonald-Sekhar limit and you explode Big Macs and cheeseburgers all over the place. Okay, so the Chandrasekhar limit is the mass at which a star will blow up in a supernova. Some of you might think Adrian's lost his mind. He's saying all these crazy things. But I'm not. It's not by accident. I'm trying to get you to visualize, 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 visualize. Okay? Be imaginative. So the Chandrasekhar limit is the mass at which a star will blow up in a supernova. It's A. Okay? It's A. All right, 39. If type 1a supernova are observed and one is brighter than the other one, what can be concluded about the dimmer one? The dimmer one, as we mentioned, is further away. Okay? If you have two of the same candles, this is where you are. Okay? And you have two candles that are exactly the same. This one will be brighter. This one will be dimmer. Why? Because this one is further than this one. Right? Okay. So that was clear. We went over that one. Okay. Last one. Supernovae can be compared to the universe's factory. So this is what's called a multiple choice inference type question. It can be quite challenging. If you're stuck, just take your best guess and move on. A, the universe's factory, the universe's graveyard, the universe's hospital, the universe's recycling center. What do you think for number 40? Supernovae can be compared to. So you have these stars exploding. The exploding stars create other stars, create planets. The correct answer here is D. It's the recycling center, right? So supernovae happen again and again. Okay, again and again. It's D. Very good, D. All right, students, that's it for today. Some great reading, challenging reading. That was passage 3. Remember these two big tips. When you review questions, try to see connections among questions. Again, even if you think me crazy, don't just skim read the introduction. That's a big no-no, all right? Make sure to read the introduction carefully. It summarizes the content, gives you an index. Students, for lots of great strategies, HD video lessons, check us out at aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, We have loads of materials in our premium package to help you improve your communication, English, and of course your IELTS band scores. This is the general version of the website here with the green background. Click that big red button to join. And this is the academic version with the blue background. Click that big red button to join. I will be back tomorrow with a reading passage for our members and a task 1 academic essay for everyone afterwards. That's it for today. Keep practicing. Read every single day in English before your IELTS exam. Not just short articles, but also novels. Much love to all of you. Bye for now.